Mic check.
Okay.
You have cameras ready for you have cameras ready for the interview of the batteries.
I think yes.
35mm lens. And how long does it take? Okay. But I think the camera is going through some revision now. Thank God for that. So I don't think we're gonna start. Oh, there are too many of us, so we have to change the lens. Oh, okay. I would say.
Good morning, everybody. It's the third day of Formula Student Check 2025 Dynamics. We are back in Most. The sun is shining, and we got a busy day ahead of us. But before we will dive in there, let's recap quickly what has happened the last couple days.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was super exciting. We saw some very close track action, I would say. So the track conditions also, we speculated about them yesterday a lot. And I think they're quite, different than what we expect. They're very, very good. It's not as cold as in the last days. It's already, 20 degrees maybe. So it will be also today a very exciting day.
Yeah, 100% Christian. Super, super exciting. We are joined here by Stefan and Michael doing a couple interviews for us. And I think today is going to be super exciting. Yesterday, we saw in the morning the driverless autocross, some impressive times there. Quite a lead there by K Racing, 22.9 seconds ahead of Chalmers. And in the afternoon, we saw the track drive for the driverless. There was one, at least time-wise, by Chalmers from Göteborg as well, ahead of Trondheim. Unfortunately, no other team passed the driverless track drive in the end. Quite significant, but also giving these two teams quite a significant gap ahead of all the others in terms of winning the driverless cup here.
Yeah, definitely. I think the driverless cup was very, very close in the track drive, in the autocross. In the track drive then, unfortunately a couple of teams didn't finish it. But as you mentioned, I think these two teams are obviously the top contenders for the cup. Yeah, and other than that, I think we had yesterday also the engineering design finals. Maybe Michael, you can shortly mention who made it. I think we have seen two teams of the design finals not yet on track, which are Aachen and Milano.
Oh yes, I was judging the combustion and I was also in the finals. It was very interesting, very nice. Who very surprised us was Milano, who was there. And next to them, there were AMZ, very strong team, even in the ED, not only on the track. Next to them, we had FS Delft and also Tallinn and Aachen. So these were the EV cars that made it to the finals. And talking about combustion finals, there were 4 teams. The one team from the Turkey, then TU Warsaw, TU Ostrava, and Budapest. So it's all judged. The ED finished, and we're gonna see who won that tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. There, as far as I heard, you still couldn't decide on a winner there. So super, super good and close performances by the participating teams as well. And speaking about close and good performances, that's exactly what we've seen here on track in the acceleration and SKIDPAD. So for SKIDPAD, TU Delft actually set out a huge time at the end, giving themselves a gap of 1.5 tenths above the second and third place, both with a 4.81 from Trondheim and CTM from Innsbruck there. Delft with their second run going for 4.65 seconds there. Different approaches a little bit in the strategies, Christian. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, definitely different strategies. I mean, I think the most outstanding strategy is from Campus Tirol Motorsport. Currently, they set up time very, very late yesterday with the first driver, and they only set one time. We actually spoke with them for a short amount of time, and it seems to be actually that they hadn't any issues. It was really strategy. So we will see if this turns out today to be the correct one. But in general, I think we are up for a lot of action on the track, a lot of cars we haven't seen at all yet, from Dresden, Milano, also Joanneum, KA Racing, E-Force, Aachen, also the other Karlsruhe. We haven't seen them on track yet, so excited to see what happens today.
Yeah. In the meantime, we've seen the first car on track today in the dynamic area. It was Chalmers, the seemingly winners of the DV track drive, going for an acceleration run here. And also on the skid pad, we see some action. It's E75 von Rezhezhnov. And yeah, let's see what they can do in their first skid pad run.
And as the action is turning up here in the dynamic area, I want to have a quick look back to yesterday, where the custom manufacturing finals also took place, where a lot of teams of the EV and CV Cup presented their knowledge about business, about manufacturing and production processes. They had to solve a complex task in a time frame of just 2 hours and then present their efforts to a jury. And I think the results there were very, very close as well, and we're looking forward to see the winner.
Yeah, Rezhezhnov getting a clean run in there, which isn't as easy as you'd think from the beginning. We've seen some drivers and teams struggling with it quite a bit yesterday. 5.42, decent run for the first try, for the first attempt. Let's see if they go directly for a second one, but it doesn't seem like it. As you can see here, going directly for the second one would require you to go to the right, but they went straight into post-inspection. This could also be strategy for them, just checking out what the scrutineers and the officials do in the post-scrutineering.
Yeah, exactly, Jonas. We have seen it yesterday that it can be quite useful, and also even the day before, that it can be useful to just use the first run to actually check what the scrutineers are checking post-scrutineering and with their measuring devices. If everything is rule compliant, so you can be sure that also the second, third and fourth run will be counted.
Stefan, can you maybe tell our viewers again, or audience again, what is mostly checked in these post-checks?
So the cars don't know ahead of time, but usually there are some electrical and mechanical checks. What we often do is check the ground clearance to ensure that the cars are safe to drive. And with that, there's usually aero boxes that have to be fulfilled. Where you can place your aerodynamic devices is heavily regulated and therefore checked. You might see it in a few minutes on the camera. There is this wooden bar. It's placed below the vehicle to check the ride height, and there are some markings on it that indicate how high wings, for example, can be. The front wing or the rear wing have to fit in those regulated boxes. And right now, Chalmers is in this post-inspection. Yesterday, they still had some struggles with the aero boxes, but I think they got it right. And now they should be safe. For electrical checks, there are a few different options. Usually the IMD, the insulation monitoring device, placed in the battery that monitors the insulation and therefore the safety of the battery. This is checked a lot. You could do something like an BSPD check, which is pretty much a standalone device that checks that you don't power the motors under braking. Usually this might be done after autocross or endurance because those checks might take a while.
Yeah, and speaking about Chalmers and the ride height, I think we had a lot of trouble in the past, or the car had a lot of trouble in the past. Exactly with the balance between ride height, because obviously when you adjust the ride height to the correct amount, everything should fit. But if something unfortunate happens and the ride height, out of whatever reasons, is too high or need to be adjusted actually, then the danger is there that the top elements of the aerodynamics are actually outside of the box. So you need to find that sweet spot, which it looks like they did it.
And of course, everybody's pushing the limits aerodynamically, so you actually want to use all of the space available in the box, and therefore you might run into some troubles if something does not fit, because you just are so on the edge.
Yeah, Stefan, you're exactly right. It's really about finding that sweet spot of having good adjustability while maximizing aerodynamic performance and being inside the rules.
You could somewhat say that they were lucky that there were some checks done in the pre-inspection. So they already measured the ride height in the pre-inspection yesterday, and they said that it was not okay and they should redo that and they could not take their run. This is somewhat lucky because they could have done that in post and then just disqualify the run that they already did. So maybe they got a little bit lucky there, and now they should be fine.
Yeah, in the meantime, we saw a comment in the chat saying that PRZ Racing has a really outstanding livery. I think we can agree a little bit. We have a little bit of a history for you guys regarding the livery. It is their 7th car, their second electric one, and you can see it in the back. It has the 007, yeah, sort of James Bond themed for them.
Yeah, it looks very nice. And as you can see, the number, as Jonas mentioned, it's the whole theme. I think it's also the whole theme for basically this year. The rollout was also, yeah, had a touch of the James Bond theme, and also the trailer and so on. So it's a, I would say, a very interesting corporate identity they created, yeah, with the background story of the 7th car.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what they will do for the 8th car.
Yeah, that will be great.
Yeah, in the meantime, we see lots of action going on in the practice area. We've seen the team from Hof there already, also a combustion car, and now the next teams pushing into the SKIDPAD, notably E39 from Lund and Hof Spannung from Hof, E86, also trying to line up either at acceleration or SKIDPAD. Let's see what they can do in the future.
Talking about a car, E39, going probably for the SKIDPAD. So I have some technical information. For example, the car is a bit heavier. It weighs now 217 kilos. So it's a bit on the heavier side. And even though the already ended the DV, or guys, we will have the DV today? It's all done,
no,
right?
the DV is all done and decided.
Yeah, so they just, for example, adjust LiDAR, no camera, that's pretty interesting, and they have only rear-wheel drive, which doesn't matter on the SKIDPAD, right? That much. The difference is smaller, or what do you think?
I think there is actually a difference because, yeah, it should be like a steady-state scenario, but in general, I think with the torque vectoring on all 4 wheels, it's kind of easier to maintain a certain desired yaw angle that you want to have in SKIDPAD. So I think it is, in theory, possible to maybe compensate it, but from the history, I think it's, yeah, we've seen that it's also an advantage.
Exactly. I completely agree with you, Christian. I mean, we've been talking a lot yesterday about this sensitive, steady state that you want to be in. You know, just that perfect yaw angle to get around that radius of a corner perfectly and be within the limits of what the tires allow. And I just feel like, you know, all-wheel drive with a torque vectoring system gives you a little bit more, you know, help for the driver to get to that spot more easily.
Yeah, definitely. I think drivability is also here a key word. Since we have the small bump in the left turn in this SKIDPAD, it's quite unique. And also we have historically here a more like kind of dusty track. Yeah, over the last year we have always seen it like this. Also yesterday we saw it. We actually saw the dust coming off the track in the first runs. So it's a huge challenge, and drivability is playing a key role.
Yeah, and yeah, as I mentioned yesterday, already plenty of teams on track. But as we also mentioned, there's plenty of teams that really have the ambition here to go into the top 3 and either also win the competition. And a few of them, which we assume have that sort of ambition, haven't even been on track yet. Which ones, for example?
Yeah, I think we kind of mentioned them, but yeah, it's obviously why we see one car in the acceleration event. It's, I would say definitely we have seen some of the top contenders not already. So one team we definitely have to have on the radar is Joanneum, since they won here last year.
Yeah.
And they didn't drive yesterday, which was a little bit maybe surprising, but also not surprising when we see who else also didn't drive. They just have a different strategy. Or Jonas, do you have? Yeah,
a couple teams that maybe also because they were busy with the track drive before for the DV, like Aachen and Car Racing. We haven't seen them on track yet. Karlsruhe HSK also haven't been on track yet, even though I just saw them pushing into the dynamic area here. So hopefully a time from them very, very soon. And what we also shouldn't forget is that we haven't seen two of yeah, the very consistent teams from the last years. Milan and Prague. Milan last year 3rd place overall. E-Force also haven't been here yet.
Yeah, I think E-Force also yesterday in the DV, they didn't really attend. I think their overall goal actually was to also win the DV Cup this year, which unfortunately wasn't possible. Definitely, I think that this is something we can say by now. But yeah, Jonas, maybe also you guys, who do you think is one of the teams that we need to look out for?
Well, I mean, we mentioned already, I think, that there's probably around 8 to 10 teams that really want to take at home, the whole thing home. And it's really hard to point them out. So I will leave it to you guys.
maybe a surprising team. We already know from the history, there's always one team that is surprisingly up there and no one had on the radar before. Have we seen maybe something yet that we can say, hey, this may be an opportunity for them?
Well, I'm not sure if it's the team we are talking about, but I was going through the pits and seeing all the cars, and what really caught my eye was the AMZ car with their unique suspension. So they have decoupled also the warp, which means the opposite tires of the opposite side, and the suspension is really work of art. And also the guys was very nice just to talk me through the car and also let me try the suspension. So take the tire and try to put it up. So it was pretty amazing, and I would definitely keep an eye on that car. But what's your favorite cars maybe?
Well, I would like to mention 2 names. Of course, we do not have any favorite cars, and we are looking out for some underdogs to perform here. But I'm very looking forward to the car from Aachen, because they had a very impressive performance at the FS Austria Autocross, where they were just ahead of everybody else by a mile. So I think they had 2 seconds to the second car. So I'll see how they perform here. The endurance in FS Austria wasn't that successful, and they had a DNF, so there might be some reliability issues. And I'm very looking forward to seeing them drive here. And on the other hand, maybe somewhat of an underdog or somebody that works or have worked their way up. I'm very looking forward to the car from Innsbruck, CTM, car number E07. I think those guys have made very, very big progress within the last 2 years. Being a steel chip space frame, having an all-wheel drive, I think they have already brought some very, very competitive times on the table on the early events in this season.
Yeah, exactly right, Stefan. And while you were saying that, the next car is on the SKIDPAD, Colts from Prague, C68, also using a hybrid system here, 13-inch wheels. Let's wait for the first time on where they can rank up here. It's a 6.45 P8 right now in their first run on the SKIDPAD. They might not be particularly happy about that, but this could also be due to the current conditions. We mentioned it already yesterday evening. We had 27 degrees, lots of cars on the track, cleaning up the track, leaving their rubber there, giving the cars behind them more grip afterwards. So, yeah, I believe the track also this morning will start to improve very, very soon.
Yeah, definitely. I think we have 2.5 hours still to go. And track evolution yesterday was, yeah, as we've seen on the stream, with the dust getting reduced and reduced more and more and more, I think also today it will continue like that.
Yeah, I think, Christian, for us especially, it was quite interesting to see some approaches, some teams not going for it at all yesterday, because personally we thought that, especially in the morning yesterday, it was super cold up until like lunchtime, and the temperatures really just picked up after lunch. So we thought that, especially yesterday evening at around 6 p.m., the best conditions were here, but let's see if teams will prove us wrong today.
So now we have car E95 on the start of an acceleration run. Before that there was car E05, that had a pretty big spin in the start of the rear tires, so the run definitely wasn't ideal. Yeah, but we're gonna see how the E95 car is gonna do.
Yeah, Chalmers, we've mentioned already, they've been on track quite often, but let's move over to the skid pad for now, because car 6, C68, is going for the next run.
So now we have 2 runs in the same time. There is a combustion car on the skid pad, and at the same time we're gonna start the E95. That was pretty nice run. Pretty nice run.
Prague also back on track. It's their second event this year. Been in FSA before. Their time there in the skid pad, 6.3 seconds. Let's see if they can beat it here.
Yeah, I think 1.5 tenths, and that's a lot faster. It's below 6 seconds.
Yeah, 5.9. You're absolutely right, Christian. But you also can see that there's a big difference between the left and the right side turn, which is a bit surprising.
Yeah, it definitely is. But let's take a look at the next car in SKIDPAD, Tampere. Famously, obviously known for their sauna on the campsite.
And so the C78 car goes for the skid pad, and one cone bounces off, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But let's keep pushing. We see the driver fighting the wheel a bit, not giving it the constant angle.
Another
and also
another cone there. But it still looks rather quick. I feel like the driver is still in control of the car.
Yeah, definitely. He was definitely finding and searching for the limit on his first run. So I think he will, directly go for the second one. And the car looked very agile. Which is not super surprising with a weight from under 180 kilos.
we've got comment turbo down there. Not sure if this car has the turbo, but it's something unusual, I would say, for the combustion category to have turbocharger in the car. But let's see the second round.
Yeah, this looks super fast. Touching a cone there, but it didn't get out of the box or tipped over.
And there we see cone flying in the background, so definitely one cone down, and the car is in the finish.
The run looked clean from our perspective, and this could be, yes it is! 5.09, Tampere. And that was their first run, actually. That was not even the second run. So we're still waiting for the time of the second run, which looked even quicker. This could very well be the first combustion time below 5 seconds.
Exactly. In the first run they had cones. The second one did look good. And I think this was slower in total, but still faster than the first one with cones. But yeah, puts them on P3 actually. P2. P2, sorry, of course.
Yeah, impressive run, guys. And I believe this really showcases that the track has a lot of potential right from the get-go today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got here a question. I don't know if it's for Jonas or Christian, but guys, I'm gonna ask you, what's your most memorable race while still being in the FS team?
I think we will have a chance to answer that question later after the run of E35 from Unimaribor from Slovenia. Going for the first SKIDPAD run here. Really nice to see them on track.
Yeah, I think it's also their first appearance today. They didn't put a run in yesterday.
Seems like it was a successful SKIDPAD run. Let's wait for the time here. Uni Maribor, yeah, fighting quite a bit with some issues this year. 5.66 seconds in their first run, P17 for now. They dealt with a broken mold for their monocoque, but fortunately seemed to be able to fix it over the course of the season, and happy to have them on track here at FSCZ 2025.
Yeah, also looked very consistent. The driver doesn't do much work. He basically holds the steering wheel at one angle and then just, yeah, continues to drive. Also over the bump.
So the run is finished, no cones down. So that's the run for the E35 car. It's very interesting, the diffuser of this car, because usually it's not usual to have this big of a diffuser as the E35 car has. So let's say if it helped for the SKIDPAD time or not.
.43 seconds, improving to P15 for now in their second run. Very consistent, the left and the right-hander here. Seems like the driver was quite confident. Now Lund on track, E39. Second Swedish EV team here.
It's also, I think, the second event, right? They've been in the Netherlands and also here with some experience already without any cones, directly going for the second run.
Yeah, in the Netherlands, their best time 5.49. So they are almost there already in their first run here in the SKIDPAD at FSCZ 5.55 for now. Let's see if they can improve and get their best SKIDPAD time of the season.
Yeah, it's only 0.05 of a second that they're missing to their best time on the season so far.
Here we have gone down, unfortunately, and to the finish for the second run of the E39 car from the Sweden. Okay, so I have to say, let's say, not made a mistake, but the cone we saw there wasn't the cone that the car hit, which is what I thought, but guys will explain why we have their cone in the background that I'm misinterpreting as a hitted cone.
So the track marshals, they pull out one cone to indicate that the driver should do the direction change. For the first turn, there is one extra cone within the SKIDPAD, and then the track marshal pulls this one out on a leash pretty much to help the drivers out not doing the direction change in the first turn already.
Yeah, this is something that they've been doing for some time now, but also it's different from event to event side. So it was quite common, and it comes from the FSCZ, like the original format, but we've seen also in FSG and other competitions that this is not usually like always the case. Sometimes it's just that there's basically one cone missing and you need to find the way on your own.
I think one thing to point out at the Lund car, which is quite unusual and you don't see on many other cars, is the shark teeth 3D printed on the end plate of the rear wing. They've been using that for quite some time. The only other team that really comes to mind here is the team from Runningsdale's Amberg White that have used it as well, but seemingly have to opt it for a more conventional style of end plate here.
Yes, so you're right. I think we've seen it in the past on only a couple of teams. We definitely, it's always difficult to see with a CFD what's actually going on. But yeah, we can maybe speculate a little bit. So if the car is going through a corner, you normally have kind of a pressure difference also on these small tips. So it could be that basically on the inside that there's maybe some vortices created to the outside. Mixing some different airflow energies to get a little bit more energy into the rear wing maybe.
So BVR car is going to the start, and this car is rear-wheel drive. So that's quite unusual today even. And also, for example, this car has new monocoque, which has 50% more torsional rigidity, as the team love to say in the ED, for example, when they are asked. And also the EcoPack has new cooling, so we're gonna see how it will go for them on the acceleration run.
So yeah, I think a time we can expect from them, which we've seen in FSN so far, was a 4.4. So let's see if they can improve.
We've heard a bit of a tire slip, but I would say it was the good amount of the tire slip for the car to get off the acceleration run. So let's see for the time.
Yeah, it's a 4.63 for the first run here. Seems like they still have some room for improvement here, but definitely a solid run for the first attempt.
And by the way, this car is also autonomous, and they are using camera plus LiDAR, which at this point they don't need, of course. We also see now that we have many cars on the acceleration row. We can see here, for example, E5 car, E69 car. So the runs, there will be a lot of runs in next few moments. Here you can see it in the background, the row of the cars waiting for the run, and the E15 will go for another take, which is the best way to do it, right guys? When the tires are warm, nice and warm, best moment.
Yeah, normally I think in this event is quite special because the car needs to be powered down and then pushed directly again to the start line. The cars still have priority when they finished just the run and they can just directly do their second attempt. But on other events it's also sometimes quite normal that you directly drive to the starting line again. Here also the combustion cars have to switch off the engine, then get pushed to the line again, and now we see E15 going directly for the second run. But yeah, to answer your question, normally it's an advantage with heated tires. Yeah.
Lots of wheel spin there at the beginning. Quickly accelerating afterwards again, but this wheel spin might have been a little bit too much here to improve.
And I also feel a bit of wind, and we have another run with the time 4:62.
Yeah, improving by 100th of a second here. And to come back to the topic from just a few moments ago, personally, I believe that the time between, shutting down the car, pushing it all the way to the starting line and booting it again is just super, super long. So I don't think the benefit of going for a second run here is right away is actually that big compared to other events, as Christian mentioned before. And that's also what we've seen, that lots of teams are actually going out of the dynamic area after one run, maybe adjusting something in their code, especially EV cars here sometimes, and then going for another run 10 minutes later.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And now we see the team from Hamburg lining up at the starting line for acceleration.
And they just went off and finished the run.
And the time is a 3.88 in their first attempt for Ignition Hamburg. That's actually a very good time.
I think that's the difference between the rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. Or maybe what times are we looking for if we want to see, or how the fast time looks like, the fastest one? What can we expect from the top team here?
I mean, we've seen a couple teams that definitely have ambition to win the acceleration here already. Yesterday, CTM, Campus Tyrol Motorsport, already posting a 3.51. We could hear the team being super happy about that time and also being super happy about it afterwards. And that time is definitely the one to beat. So I believe that lots of teams will actually struggle to beat that time. And this is already a really strong showing. And yeah, I'm honestly not sure if anybody can beat that time today.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I mean, we've seen faster times on the DV acceleration earlier in the week. We saw 3.41 already there. But if you consider this kind of as a limit without driver, and then with basically minimum 60 kilogram extra, I think this is sometimes we can expect. 3.55, as Jonas mentioned, I think is also hard to beat.
And maybe to add on to your question, there is definitely an advantage in having the all-wheel drive compared to the rear-wheel drive. We'll see the Prague car now on track.
Yeah, there is Czech car on the start, C68. It's combustion car, rear-wheel drive.
No, it's actually Colt from for Prague, hybrid team. We've seen that skid just a few moments ago. Off they go. Quite a bit of wheel spin again. But it still looked rather quick.
So maybe we can finish that thought, because there was a question in chat now about the time difference between the rear-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive. With the all-wheel drive, we already mentioned we're talking about below 3 seconds, so 3.4 seems to be the driverless acceleration, the fastest time that we have here. We can see that as kind of pushing the limit on all-wheel drive. Of course, we also have had faster runs. We have Ignition Hamburg here on track. Looked very quick, kind of the first ones. The fastest run that was recorded at any time was the TU Delft car at Formula East in 23, where they did a 2.999 seconds. I think it's very hard to go below that. So we're expecting those low 3 times for all-wheel drives, and with rear-wheel drive you might push the below 4 second mark, but this is a very good time then. So in 3.9 within rear-wheel drive, that seems to be a very good place to be, and I don't think that we've seen one yet. Baltic Racing is one of those mentioned rear-wheel drives, and I think we get their time soon. It's a 4.22.
Yeah, it didn't improve on that run. And the car stopped on its way back. So obviously no other car will start now, but they got going again. Just
yeah,
good
they're
to
back
see.
running. Good to see that. And it's also really nice to see on the Baltic car how much they can lower the drag for the acceleration. It seems like they removed almost an element of their rear wing here. That's how big of a gap is there.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the widest rear wings openings we see so far.
Prague now back on track, looking to beat their 5:02 from earlier, which is already a bit faster than their quickest time from FS Austria just 2 weeks ago, where they got a 5.39. And they improve it by quite a bit, 4.6, putting them into P7 for now.
At the start there, we saw the car not starting for a while. I don't know if you can hear it on the stream, but the driver was looking for the perfect RPM. And I think also it's very hard to let off the clutch the right amount of way. The best way to do it would be use some actuator. And here we have another run.
Yeah, now we got E69, the next team from Hamburg, Hawks Racing on track.
Yeah, I think we've seen them yesterday in the SKIDPAD already. And also this car comes to a stop at the end of the acceleration, which means if they can't get going again, this will also count it as a DNF. But let's hope they can manage it.
Yeah, Hawks Racing. I think in general, quite good to see them here. They were registered for FS Austria, didn't run unfortunately. So really nice to have them here and actually being on track.
Yeah, so, okay, the driver gives basically the signal to get picked up. Doesn't really look, yeah, quite happy, to be honest.
Maybe a few details about the E69 car. In the meantime, it weighs 218 kilos. And last year it weighed only 216. So it's 2 kilos more. And the reason is the monocoque, that unfortunately there were some problems during manufacturing. So they had to put there 20 more kilos of the steel to the monocoque to make it work, because unfortunately there was no time to make the new one. And also this car is rear-wheel drive, and for the first time it has dual motor in the back. Before there was only a single motor, electric one of course. At this point there are two, and they are not in the upright, they are behind the driver.
University of Cardiff now on SKIDPAD again with their second driver. We've seen them yesterday. Driver fighting a bit. 5.39 yesterday for them.
Yeah, so this is definitely a time they can, I think, achieve in the second run.
Yeah, 5.56 here in their first run of their second driver. Quite a bit slower on the left than on the right. It seems like the driver was a little bit over the limit there. Also really nice to see from this above shot how the track cleaned up over the course of the event. It's way less dusty than we saw yesterday already.
Yeah, if you look at the right corner in the picture, you can see like in the inside of the SKIDPAD, there's still a lot of white dust, but it just stops when the track starts, which basically means everything got cleaned up. Okay, why Cardiff is not really able to start.
Now we
But-
hear the engine started.
But in the meantime, we look at the acceleration.
Yeah, Hochspannung here. Took a little bit until the next car could run on acceleration because the Hawks car had to be picked up, unfortunately, by their team. They're pushing it out of the dynamic area now, or the queuing area.
And it looks like Cardiff stalled again, so the engine is off. Saw the car jumping a little bit, but didn't get enough speed to just continue driving.
But Cardiff, on their last SKIDPAD run now. Decent right-hander, a little bit of oversteer. Switching the turns.
The driver actually looks like he's in the steering lock position sometimes.
Yeah, and unfortunately he couldn't finish the run without hitting any cones. A little bit of understeer here. Maybe just press the throttle a little harder at the end.
A little bit, yeah, he just understeered completely into not close, like very close to the timekeeping actually.
Yeah, and that's especially sad regarding his time because his right-hand turn was actually a 5.18. His left-hand turn a little bit slower, 5.56. But he also took a couple cones, so that will be no improvement for car C2 from Cardiff. On the acceleration now, Hochspannung pushing to the next run. And this is exactly what we've been talking about before, right? That it just takes quite a bit of time for the cars going for their second run, especially in acceleration here. And the tires cool off so much, just give so much heat over to the surface, which is not super warm yet. So let's see if they can improve in their second run.
Yeah, the waiting times are always also as a driver a little bit frustrating, especially even more in SKIDPAD when something like this happens. Let's take a look at Maribor and SKIDPAD. And nearly hitting a cone on the exit and then but finding the way back to the track for the second run.
Hochspannung's driver now doing the second run. Maribor couldn't improve, unfortunately.
Home point updated. Takeoff. Home point updated.
And now Maribor going for their last run in the SKIDPAD E35. Quite a prominent roll heave system, the top of the car. And hitting a cone on their way out.
Yeah, it was close on the third run, but now he hit it. That's unfortunate, because everything is over basically.
Yeah.
But it still counts as a cone hit.
Yeah, exactly. 5.70 though, no improvement time-wise for them. So the driver's not going to be too sad about the cone. And back on the acceleration, we can see Pforzheim going for their first dynamic discipline here. I don't think we've seen them yesterday, apart from on the testing track. Super interesting livery from Pforzheim.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. I mean, if we would have seen them yesterday, we would have remembered that, because the livery is very, very special. Jonas, can you give us a little bit of background on the livery? I mean, we spoke with him, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Pforzheim always taking gemstones as their themes for their livery. That is why it's always different, always quite nice to see. And this year the team wanted something pink, you know, and that's why they opted for the rose quartz, and that's also the name of their car. And yeah, defined the livery in this case. Yeah, Pforzheim has always been one of the teams with a super interesting concept. They had servo motors, industrial servo motors in the back. Super quiet car usually. You couldn't hear them at all. Off they go for their first run. But the car seemed to have decelerated before the finish line there. .5. It looked rather quick from the get-go, but they couldn't quite finish the run, unfortunately. And the car is also off the very back of the acceleration side. Team seems to have to pick it up now. Unless he can get going again, but it doesn't seem like it. Yeah, unfortunate for Pforzheim there, but they still got 3 runs to go. Let's hope they can improve on that.
And next in the line, it looks like it's gonna be car E25, Joanneum Racing, which is one of those cars we should keep the eye on, right, guys?
Yeah, of course. Winners from last season, winners from FS Austria. Didn't see them yesterday. I think they were also in the scrutineering for a little bit, but really happy to see them on track now, and looking forward to see if they can set a new benchmark here.
Exactly. I hope they took their time to get their setup right, adjust the suspension, adjust the aerodynamics, and now there's a lot of time pressure to actually get all of those valid runs in until our time runs out at midday.
One of the interesting facts about E25 cars, it's all air-cooled, everything, which is pretty unusual. I know about one team, Austrian team, that has, for example, all 4 motors air-cooled, but this car has also the inverter air-cooled, which is unusual, and battery air-cooled, which is quite normal. So. And it's pretty lightweight car. It weighs only 151 kilos without the DV, of course.
Yeah, acceleration still blocked a little bit by the Pforzheim car at the very back of the track. They need to push it all the way, which is why we're back at the SKIDPAD car E75 PRZ Racing, lining up here again, and also in the back we can see the car E76 from K Racing, who've performed really, really well in the driverless autocross, lining up. So really exciting to see what their car can do with the driver. PRZ Racing goes first though. off the line. Driver picking up pace here.
Yeah, let's see what they can do. It looked like mid 5 to up 5 seconds.
Yeah, 5.43 seconds PRZ racing. Looked like a clean run. Their second attempt here. We remember we saw them pushing out after their first run. Couldn't improve, unfortunately. But still 2 more runs to go for them.
We see scrutineers checking the car, checking the ride height with the stick of truth, let's say. And in the meantime, Joanneum Racing is pushing their car to the start line of the acceleration.
So the scrutineering looks good. Ride height check seems to be okay. Otherwise, we would have already seen some discussions while E76 is on the track. And it's looking actually quite good. This is one of the cars we mentioned earlier. We should have definitely a look on. Let's see what the first time is.
And there is a crash. Oh my god. What happened there? The driver doesn't seem happy.
I hope we didn't damage anything on the car.
It looks like the end plate is completely broken. And the front wing.
This is very sad moment.
What?
Here.
And the suspension. Did he hit the? It looks like he hit the barrier. He just drove off track.
But if
Or
I have a look on the tires, they look in different angles. The front tires looks like something broke in the suspension. Not sure what happened there, but very unfortunate.
The driver's super sad about himself, but the car looks to have some damage and that needs to be removed.
And in the meantime, Joanneum Racing just finished the race. We also wait for the time, and then we will replay what happened there in the SKIDPAD.
On the acceleration, we have a 3.56 by Joanneum Racing Graz. Last year's winners, now on P2. Last year, they brought their powered ground system to enable them to do a time of 3.38. They're not quite there yet, but a 3.56 is very impressive as their first run, and I think they'll have the second run shortly. So Christian, in the meantime, had a replay of what the Karlsruhe driver did. Maybe you can walk us through that.
Yeah, this looks very, very unfortunate. It wasn't really visible like in the stream, but it looked like the driver got a little bit distracted on the way back to the track and actually hit one of the side cones and obviously also a little bit of the tire barrier. which basically, yeah, destroyed the front wing, and it also looks like the suspension front left corner is damaged. So, yeah, Stefan, what does it mean?
Well, there is some work to do by the team, but I think depending on the damage, they might be able to fix that. The front wing looks very damaged, but maybe those elements can be reused to get those back on the car. The suspension is hard to tell. Christian, maybe you can have some insight?
Yeah, I think suspension generally, it obviously depends what actually broke. I think when you're obviously speaking about an upright that is broken, then it depends on what kind of spare parts you have. And if the monocoque was damaged too because something was pulled out of the monocoque, then we have a bigger problem, because this is definitely, I think, a load scenario that wasn't simulated or calculated for. But let's hope that maybe the suspension is okay, and I think the front wing, as always, we've seen actually some cars damaging front wing also in autonomous categories, and they can rebuild them quite quickly.
So let's assume with the suspension it's just a rod, something like an A-arm or the push rod. How much time would that take the team to rebuild that system?
And here we have Joannem racing second acceleration run.
Let's see if they can improve and fight for the top time.
And away we go. We saw
and no improvement there. Is 3.78, which is actually 0.2 slower than the first attempt. Yeah, but answering your question, Stefan, I think suspension can be, if it's carbon rods, you can basically cut them, and if the connectors in the end are still usable, then I think you can quite easily replace it. But I assume that also the team has some spare parts for it, especially from these single connectors, and can rebuild.
Yes, I do believe a lot of teams even bring spare A-arms. Maybe you can, if you have the part with you, just actually reassemble all of those parts and be done very quickly. You, of course, have to take mechanical scrutineering again and show that at least the parts that had obvious damage are now fixed. This is made possible by the scrutineers here in FSCZ to actually enable this team to have a shot at the other dynamic disciplines, maybe the autocross in today's afternoon, or at least the endurance tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. And I think especially in a situation like this, the organizers are always willing to help and try to accelerate the re-scrutineering as soon as possible.
In the meantime, E27 car finished acceleration run with the time 4:14. Let's see if they will go for the second run. And they are going for it.
Yeah, UAS Baron going for their second run now. Already still showing in their first one, 4.14. One of 3 Swiss cars here.
and the E27 car just passed the finish line at full speed with a time 4 seconds.
Yeah, improving there to P10 here with 2 more runs to go. Really interesting about the Baron car is are the A-arms, the wishbones they got. They are milled completely out of aluminum as far as I can see, which is quite unusual in the Formula Student. Most teams going for either carbon fiber tubes or steel tubes. Always love to see some other concepts being used successfully.
Yeah, I think a lot of these design decisions are also based on which kind of sponsors you have. If you have a sponsor that is capable of doing something and is willing to sponsor you for free on these kind of things, I can tell you that a lot of teams obviously start thinking where they can utilize their resources best, and I think this is one of the scenarios where it just made sense for them.
Yeah, 100% Christian. I mean, this is a key part of Formula Student, you know, allocating your resources, deciding what sponsor do I use for what, where do I need more resources as well, you know, where put the focus on acquiring new sponsors. And yeah, I'm sure lots of people spend lots of time on the phone and in their emails just trying to get as many resources as possible, or especially what they need. E44 from Deggendorf now pushing into the morning session. We've seen them yesterday already, not just in SKIDPAD and acceleration, but also before in the driverless disciplines. I think they were leading the acceleration for quite some time for electric cars yesterday. Now let's see if they can get back into the top 10 with their last runs.
Yeah, as a small matter of perspective, we had in the driverless category driven from them a 5.52. So let's see if this is one of the examples that we can see a faster or even a slower time with the driver.
Good to see the officials here checking the safety once more, tightening the belts. You know, a lot of things in the Formula Student are dependent on the budget of the team, but one thing where there are no compromises are definitely driver safety on the track and in the car as well. So they try to check everything as good as possible. There's only a few certified safety systems for belts, for helmets, for driver suits being allowed here, and that's also why nobody has ever really been injured in the Formula Student.
Yeah, which is definitely one of the results of these rules. I mean, they are quite strict, they always get checked. You also have a specific pre-scrutineering for driver gear. And also, as you can see, before every single discipline, every driver gets checked.
We can see the rear wing of the E44 car is fully opened. Maybe it's possible because there is not too much elements and it's quite easy to open, but we can I just remember this rear wing because next on the line there is E-Force team and their philosophy there is quite different because the rear wing of the E-Force is closed. So
question in the chat when the Romanian teams are coming on track. We've seen them quite a bit yesterday, both of them actually. Yesterday already, competing in both disciplines. I think there's a few runs left for them, but I haven't seen them in the dynamic area today. But now E44 Deggendorf going for their run first.
Yeah, that sounded like the car found some grip and then the tire slipped again after it was off the line after about like 2-3 meters. let's see.
.15 for Deggendorf in supposedly their first run. We'll have to correct ourselves here. Good base to improve in the next 3 runs there.
I will keep your hands, please let it loose. Yeah, thank you.
Meanwhile, Hamburg E78 on track in the SKIDPAD. Looks clean from here for now. Touched the cone a little bit, but it's still standing. No cones in this run. And going straight away for a second.
At the same time, E-Force just going for the acceleration run. And it looks pretty strong. Let's wait for the time. And it's 3.72. That's on 9th place so far. So let's see if they're going to go for the second run. And in the meantime, on the SKIDPAD, we should be able to see the second run of.
Yeah, 3.72. This is actually what we've mentioned yesterday, you know, that you can't really win the competition here in this event, but you can certainly use it. So you want to be within, you know, that top bunch of times, not lose too many points, and that's certainly what E-Force did.
And this was the second run of the E78 car on the SKIDPAD. And we can see E-Force members on the screen.
And until we wait to see the next car on track, I think, Stefan, you took a look at the Karlsruhe car. Can you give us a short update?
Yes, I had a very short look at the car, and the damage is somewhat severe, but I think we're talking about the suspension rods of their suspension system. They had multiple tear-outs of those carbon fiber rods from the machined aluminum parts. The metal parts itself, they look reusable, so either they brought spare parts or they find a way to reuse those metal parts and rebond those with probably new carbon fiber parts. The front wing, on the other hand, looks badly damaged, so we'll see how they deal with the situation. Good luck to the team. I think now is the time to work together and to find a solution and to overcome those problems. I think this is one of the best qualities that Formula Student offers, and that grows in the teams to make memories through this hard work that they might be facing right now.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned the spirit of Formula Student quite some time now, but this is a great opportunity, or not a great opportunity, but it will definitely show in this scenario also. Since we have some very long lead items, did the motors or outboard suspension system get affected?
This is hard to tell. So with the electric motors in the wheel hub, you always have a very delicate parts within that system. From the first look, it does not look damaged, but of course you have to check precisely. And we have another car on track.
Yeah, it's EO4 from Taiwan. And that's super cool to see them on track. We've got 2 teams here that came from super, super far away. One from Indonesia, one from Taiwan. And they are no strangers to the competition either.
Yeah, let's see what the time actually looks like. I think they can attend on all disciplines, obviously. We still have SKIDPAD acceleration today. They passed scrutineering. So let's take a look. And then maybe we can speak a little bit about the challenges these teams have to go through when they come from, yeah, then they have to travel that much of a distance also with battery systems.
Yeah, 6.2 here for NTHU Racing. And yeah, you mentioned already, Christian, it's super, super hard to get a car from a different continent to a competition. it needs to be planned perfectly logistics-wise next to testing team overall, testing the car as a whole. Now going for the second run, looking into getting into the 5 seconds. As we've heard, to get their battery flown to Europe, they had to completely certify it, and they actually built more modules, battery modules, to test them and get a certification for them.
Yeah, and Jonas, this is destructive testing. I mean, you can't reuse these packs at all afterwards. So it's a huge undertaking, and they needed to plan it ahead of the season already.
Exactly. So they built a couple more battery modules just to destroy them afterwards, to be able to attend this competition, setting a lap time here of 6:01. And yeah, that's definitely dedication and shows the length that those Formula Student competitions really go.
Yeah, super consistent times here, left and right. So I think the second driver will actually attempt to go under the 6-second mark. While we see the Cardiff combustion car going for the second run in the acceleration.
So with 1.5 hours on the clock, our queues are filling up. The dynamic area is full of cars. A few of them are queuing for the test track, and Cardiff goes onto the acceleration.
Yesterday's time was
and they lose control.
And they go off the track at the very end while braking. Car looked super nervous on the brakes. Oversteer on the braking.
Jonas, we had the discussion yesterday. I mean, we've seen it in the past, 2016, but it was wet. Today we had complete, perfect track conditions. So could we see what happened? Was there a failure?
We've also seen this car on the SKIDPAD having problems with the drivability, so it's definitely things to improve on the car.
Yeah, I hope nothing broke there. In the meantime, we saw Chalmers from Göteborg setting their first time in SKIDPAD. Solid run, 5.15, left and right-hander, super consistent, almost the same times here. P12 for now, but I'm sure they will try to push to the top 10 in their second run. Acceleration is going to be blocked for a little bit now. So let's focus on E95 from Chalmers.
Yeah, Chalmers looking good from day one actually in the drivers categories, also yesterday, and right now also in SKIDPAD, very smooth.
One of our only 2 track drive finishers now with the driver in the car, proving that the car can perform with or without the driver.
Exactly, Stefan. And they managed to break the 5-second barrier, 4.97 within their second run. Yeah, very, very solid time. Putting them on P8 for now, with still 2 runs to go. So
the Cardiff car is now out of the grass. I don't know if it's damaged. The suspension still seems fine, but the driver probably wants some help of getting the car out, not on his own. But we need to have a closer look whether the aerodynamic package took some damage.
Team from Amberg, Weiden, now on the SKIDPAD, E23. We saw them posting really solid SKIDPAD times yesterday already. Acceleration time, sorry. Oversteer at the end, the driver hitting the throttle slightly too hard, exiting the left-hander. Still a very solid showing, 4.83 seconds. Maybe he hit it just right. Going for the second run now, this could very well go into the top 3.
minor steering inputs by the driver. Car looks planted a little bit of wobble in the left-hander.
Yeah, he's definitely on the limit, pushing it.
Very, very close on hitting the corner on the exit. And it is an improvement, 4.81 seconds, the best run so far, puts them in P4 currently. Which actually means, I think, we have now 3 teams with the exact same time.
Yeah, who would take third place in this case for now?
This is something we need to find out. Is it the one that's setting the time first?
I
like
think
it is in
so.
Formula 1? Or is it...
I think so, it's the one who set the time first, yeah.
But here in the timing, it looks like the running stats team is now P4 and not P5.
Yeah, I think on the screen we can see the time rounded up to 2 decimals as well. So the timekeeping, yeah, can measure it more exact than we can actually see it, and that is why the ranking here is correct.
So maybe afterwards we can find out which team actually is, how close it was.
Now TU Wrocław, E15 going for the next SKIDPAD run. .26 seconds here. Quite a bit quicker on the left-hand side than on the right-hand side. Maybe the driver was a little bit careful in their first run, just searching for the limit still.
Yeah, the driver needed some corrections on the right-hander and was very, very consistent on the left-hander. There's, I think, represented in the times.
Their best run this season, 5:00 at FS Austria. So there's definitely more potential in the car. This run looking a little bit cleaner. No cones as far as we can see. But unfortunately, no improvement. 5.27 seconds, PWR Racing. Still 2 runs to go with just a little hour, under 90 minutes left in the session.
This car we are looking at weighs 202 kilograms with the DV, and the DV system weighs 20 kilos on this car.
And now the team from Gdansk, who already posted a really strong SKIDPAD lap yesterday for the combustion cars. Also looked solid in the acceleration, 4.41 seconds. Putting them on P6 right now.
Compared to the other combustion cars, we've seen that the driver used only the second gear. The cars before had to shift 2 times, so they're definitely running different gear ratio.
Yeah, strongest showing for them this season in the acceleration was at 4.3 at FSN in the acceleration. They They almost matched at this time already in their first run of this driver. Again, FSN, they took home the overall win there, which certainly is their goal here as well. PRZ Racing now going for their final runs. Konrad Kanach starting a little slow, trying to find the limit. Close to the cones.
Yeah, it looks super steady. A little bit of correction there over the bump. No improvement so far for E75.
Yeah, 5.69 seconds with the left-hander being almost half a second quicker. So as suspected, it seemed like he was still looking to find the limit here on the right-hander. Let's see if he has more confidence on the second run. Also finishing their second run without hitting any cones. It looked a little quicker.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it will be their best time. But it is. 5.25 seconds.
Yeah, by quite a bit. Wow, that is an improvement. He chopped off more than half a second here compared to his first run. Really pushing it. Still looked super clean from our perspective, and good job there to Konrad Kanach.
Still a little bit of a difference between left and right turn, but a lot less than it was in the first run.
Meanwhile, the team from Gdansk went for another acceleration run. We just hear the engine screaming at us. Heavy braking at the end of the acceleration. And an improvement for them in their last acceleration run, 4.39 seconds. Improving to 5th place there.
The Scuderians are performing a lot of checks on the car right now. So we've already seen aerodynamic loads, aerodynamic build spaces, the wheels are checked, whether they are tight and okay. It might be that the brakes are checked, that they are still sealed and not leaking. This is what the process there takes.
And we see car C98 in the skid pad. Seemingly the driver didn't manage to get into the left-hand turn.
Yeah, Jonas, we have seen this also yesterday on a couple of teams, that there's still some confusion. I think we maybe need to speak a little bit about the track layout. It's angled here.
Exactly, Christian. So I guess as a driver, what you expect sort of is to go out of the skid pad perpendicular to the fences. However, due to space restrictions, we are a little bit angled to it. Also, there's this cone at the end that is getting pulled out, so the track is actually changing a little bit during the skid pad. Yesterday we also heard a little bit complaints about the sun being super low at the very end, so also blinding the drivers a little bit that didn't manage to get into the left circle as good as yesterday. But I'm pretty sure that all the drivers saw that yesterday and are prepared for that this morning session.
But I mean, as a driver in those cars, you're so low to the ground. Sometimes your visibility is hindered by your monocoque or frame. Sometimes there is something on the nose, and you're just driving through a tunnel of cones. Those build up really high if you're so low in the car. So visibility might be limited, and you need to find the gap. So it's actually the challenge, even though it's always the same track layout, and you're always training that.
Fast Tube from TU Berlin, E13, going for their third acceleration run. We know that they haven't been particularly happy about their time yesterday. Changed up some stuff on their traction control. 4.4 their time to beat, while the former student Ulu driver stalls the car.
And it's the 4.51 for Fast Tube TU Berlin on their first attempt.
Yeah, unfortunately no improvement for them there, Stefan. But they got one more run to go. Meanwhile, Ulu, this time passing their runs. No cones there. And also an improvement, 5.3, putting them on par with C10 Serber Motorsport. Again, the winners from last year's FS Czech. Slightly behind them though. P4 for now. But they got still 2 runs left. Off goes Munich Motorsport. Immediately improving to a 3.94, almost scratching at the top 10. And back to the SKIDPAD. EO5, Baltic Racing from Stralsund. Yeah, we mentioned it yesterday already. A team that has went without an aerodynamic package for a very, very long time. They were one of the first, if not, I think even the first Formula student team in Germany, which is incredible regarding how many teams there are now. Couldn't improve, unfortunately. 5.7, 1 run left. And Baltic Racing is going for it again. We saw that they were way slower on the left-hand side than on the right-hand side.
But actually the car looks very, very stable. Driver just needs minimal input to control it.
This could be an improvement for them, correct. Fast Tube also going for their last run in the acceleration event. Let's wait for the times here.
It's a 4.45, so not an improvement to their standing time.
Yeah. Yeah, Fast didn't improve, but Baltic Racing did. New best time for them, but still the left-hander was quite a bit quicker than the right-hander. Maybe this setup needs some eyes on them ahead of the afternoon sessions of the autocross. Yeah, we can see a lot of action in the queuing lines going on now. We just got a little bit more than 1 hour left here. Pforzheim E79 now on their SKIDPAD run. I mentioned earlier already that they used to have industrial servo motors, super quiet previously, and completely switched over their concept for this year. In the meantime, Munich Motorsport improving on their final run to 3.91 seconds. P11 for them, no top 10 for now, but still a solid showing. Pforzheim going now. 5.83 in their first run. They got the very high capacity actually for Formula student race cars, 9.33 seconds, and the driver overdoes it a little bit. It seems like the car is quite understeery there, especially on the left-hand turn.
Yeah, and you can always see it when the car goes a little bit off the line, the dust is still kicking up, so you can actually see if they can match the line. But it's an improvement, 5.5 seconds, very good.
Yeah, incredible. Left-hander being even faster than the right-hander. Maybe that's just how the car is supposed to be driven.
Could be, could be.
And we have the car from Lund on their third attempt for acceleration, setting a 4.49, which puts them on a P18 right now. But they're going for the last attempt really soon.
Hawks Racing went for their third SKIDPAD run. In the meantime, no improvement for them, 5.49. So we're back in acceleration. We got the Romanian team on track from Bucharest, UPP Drive. Petru Alexandru. Another hybrid car. Again, they were already at FS Balkans, finished the endurance there, the first endurance they finished in the team's history. We're super happy about that, and hopefully a lot of confidence coming into this competition. In the meantime, Hawks Racing finished their fourth run. An improvement for them, 5.29, putting them on P16 for now, closing the gap to the teams ahead of them. And on the acceleration, we just saw the team, the electric car from TU Warsaw, E84. And on the SKIDPAD, we now also finally see E59 on track. Looks a little wild there for the first run. TU Dresden. Yeah, we saw them yesterday already pushing into the driverless disciplines. Unfortunately for them, they couldn't get going in any of them. Afterwards, we also saw them again in the scrutineering. I'm not sure if there were some issues there, but super, super happy to see them on the track now for real. Definitely one of the teams that is contending here for one of the best positions. First one already looked rapid. Let's wait for the timing. Car just looks super planted in the right-hander.
Yeah, super fast.
5.06 in their first run. I'm very sure this can be improvement if the driver brings it home.
A little bit of understeer on the exit.
Yeah,
but
at the
still
very end.
Looking good.
Nevertheless, this could be a time that goes below the 5-second barrier.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will be below 5 seconds. Let's see if they can be in the top 3.
It is Christian. 4.91 seconds, P7 for Alfa Race in their second attempt. And the SKIDPAD really is lining up to be super close. But one time that really stands out in the EV side is definitely TU Delft, who got themselves, a little bit of a cushion there to second position. AMZ Racing, 12 hundredths of a second quicker than them right now. But from P2 up to P8, we got only 2 tenths.
Yeah, this is super close. I mean, we still have also some of the contenders not really going for it yet. We have 1 hour left, 1 hour and 5 minutes. So we expect now a lot of traffic also in the last hours to get everyone having the runs. And speaking of it,
yeah, the last year's winners, SKIDPAD winners also at FSN, E25 Ionium Grass Racing. I think the lightest car here, 151 kilograms. Johannes Pieper there. Yeah, immediately posting a 4.73.
this puts them right on the spot for their actual goal. I think they said 4.6 seconds.
Yeah, I'm sure the team members from Delft are a little worried now that their first place is in danger here. Let's see what Johannes can do in the second one. The right-hander looked super solid again already. Super quick. I couldn't really see any issues with that run.
Wow.
Barely missing out. 4.67 seconds.
Man, this is close. But they still have 2 runs to go, so now they can gamble.
Exactly. They can push it to the limit in their third and fourth run. But this is also exactly where they told us where they expect to be around with the times, low 4.6, high 4.5s, and that's exactly where they are. Also showcases again how well they know their car.
Yeah, and it's specifically impressive to see after they've completely reduced the power mount effect, because obviously it got banned, so that the car is also working without.
Correct, Christian. They had to compensate for the loss of a huge amount of downforce there. We heard that they improved their CLA by 1 full point here. Very, very impressive. And also they got a very interesting approach regarding how they decide what driver is driving which discipline. So Johannes, for example, as we've heard at least, he's going to be in the SKIDPAD and the autocross, but they got a different driver for the endurance. Back on the acceleration, team from Slovenia, Uni Maribor. Team is happy with their run. 4.35 in their first run. but the car is off on the way back. Driver shaking his head a little bit. Let's hope they can turn it back on and come back. Meanwhile, on the skid pad, the current leader of the combustion acceleration class C34, YTU Racing from TU Yıldız in Istanbul.
Yeah, and also one of the teams that was attending the engineering design finals yesterday. So I think it's definitely a team we need to look out for, also for the Olympics later.
Their goal here, to post a time below 5.2 seconds. But we can also feel it here on stage that the wind is picking up a little bit. TU Yıldız there with a little bit of oversteer. The end of the left-hander.
And in the meantime, we see on the acceleration car number 44. While Yıldız is going for their second run in SKIDPAD.
Yeah, right, Christian. Deggendorf improving there 3.96 seconds. Also breaking the 4-second barrier here. Yıldız, the car definitely shows a lot of potential. Left hand 5.23. Right hand still 4 tenths slower. Let's see if we can improve that one. You can hear the car being in super high RPMs there. He's picking it up over the course of those 2 laps. Lots of oversteer at the end, but the driver stays in control. No cones hit there.
Yeah, drifting into the end.
It looked very spectacular. Let's see if it also ended up in a good time. Spoke about this a couple times already yesterday. That, you know, overdriving the car sometimes isn't really the solution. Overall, an improvement for Yıldız here, 5.32 seconds. Left-hander slower this time, though also slower than on the first run. So I think there's a little bit more potential in the car there.
Yeah, it's always difficult also with combustion cars in SKIDPAD because you're in a specific RPM range, and if the RPM range is exactly between 2 gears, it can also be quite difficult to manage in which gear to actually drive the SKIDPAD. And the driver looked that he had some thrust still on his foot. He can manage to oversteer maybe out of the corner. And in the meantime, I think we also see car E13 still in post-inspection. It looks a little bit like steering issues.
But back to the SKIDPAD. Moritz Perntner now. Second SKIDPAD run from Innsbruck. We've seen them posting their first run yesterday already. It was a 4.81, now they have 4.83. Not improving for them, unfortunately, while Maribor went for their second acceleration run. 4.57 seconds, no improvement for them. The car is off again. The car is off again.
Yeah, we have seen that multiple times now, right? Right after the acceleration, some of the cars stop. Some can keep going again, but some also need to be picked up by the tires. Yeah, it looks like the team is on the way. So we expect some delays.
In the meantime, the engine from UAS Tampere from Finland, one of 2 Finnish teams here, is on. They're currently leading the SKIDPAD for the combustion class. Let's see if they can also challenge Yıldız for the leading position in the acceleration.
These problems could complicate things for the team that are gathering here in the row. Because the time is running, so not everyone can do it.
I mean, yeah, 100%. The queues are getting longer and longer and longer. We got a little less than 1 hour left here. So all the teams that are not in the dynamic area yet will really struggle to post all of their runs if they don't get going very, very quickly now.
We don't have any actual tracks. Maybe it's time for a short recap of what we've seen so far. Jonas, who impressed you the most?
I mean, in the SKIDPAD, I'm super impressed still by TU Delft, who you need to keep in mind they posted their first 2 runs yesterday evening, so completely different conditions than now, and they got 2 more runs left. So I'm pretty sure that they can also pick it up today. We're still not 100% sure whether the track conditions here are better, but now back onto the live action. HSK Karlsruhe, their first all-wheel drive car, starting off a little slow, but now really picking up pace. Historically, one of the best teams in the combustion class in the SKIDPAD.
Yes.
Looked like a clean run. Straight going for the second one. .41 seconds. Quite a bit quicker on the left side than the right side. But yeah, Karlsruhe is definitely known for being one of the teams that can put in a really, really good lap time, even at the very end of a session, right, Christian?
Yeah, you're speaking of something I remember in 2021. Yeah, also for me as a driver back in the days, it was a little bit unfortunate. We were on P1 in FSG for a long, long time, and then I think 10 minutes before the end, they also put out 4.8, something like this, beating us by 200th, which was, yeah, very unfortunate.
And very fortunate for them.
And very fortunate for them, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. Right here, not quite beating their time from back then, but again, their first all-wheel drive car. They're super happy that they got it going. 5.2 seconds in their second year of building electric vehicles.
That's quite impressive, I have to say. You can also see acceleration. Combustion car C78 just going to the end of the track there. Again, comment turbo there. And the time is 5:35.
Unfortunately, no improvement for them, but back to the SKIDPAD with Colts from Prague. Their third SKIDPAD run for now. They went to the acceleration after their first couple runs. Now Tomasz Nowotny in the car.
I really like their livery. They try to keep it the same every year, or rather similar. And with the reed, they're representing their agricultural heritage of the university. Really love that one. And on the acceleration, we've seen the first manual run of Milano. They finished the autonomous SKIDPAD on this event. It was their only valid run so far. And now they're off into acceleration. Do we have a time yet? Looked actually very quick. And it's a 3.66.
Wow. Yeah, right in the mix, right in the top 10.
And I think
and still 3 more runs to go.
There's some room to improve.
Yeah, Colts in their first run of their second driver, they took over the lead of the Czech teams here in the SKIDPAD. And he's improving even more. Second run for the second driver. His last run overall, 5.32 seconds. 6th place overall for them. Huge improvement for them, also compared to last year. they also managed to shave off an impressive 25 kilograms compared to last year. And it definitely shows, at least in the SKIDPAD.
And we have E-Force on the SKIDPAD. We can see the driver pushing, and it looks pretty fast. Let's wait for the time.
Great picture, by the way.
And the driver goes straight for the second run. In the meantime, here on the acceleration, there is nobody actually. So we can see the second run of E-Force.
Yes, so there might be going on some kind of rivalry in Prague with the Kul's car being the last one, and now we have E-Force, which were quite a bit quicker. 4.93, that's a very impressive time. I think that's the first attempt. So now they have the second one to improve. Right now that's P9 for them. And on the acceleration track, we've seen Tampere, who earlier did a very impressive SKIDPAD run, and right now are the combustion SKIDPAD leaders. But the 5.46 that they've shown right now is not an improvement to their standing time. So they remain at P9 with a 4.84. That was their last attempt.
We are still waiting for the results of the second E-Force run on the SKIDPAD. And in the meantime, the Italian team go for it, dynamics, and it was pretty fast run.
Almost no wheel slip, very quick run, very quick start. And a 3.63, 300ths of an improvement, putting them one place ahead in P7.
Yeah, wow. This just matches their acceleration times from Switzerland and Austria. 3.60 as well. And now to E15's Theo Wogstaff runs in the SKIDPAD. Drivers pushing immediately on the right hand.
We've seen some oversteer. Oh, and the car stopped going, unfortunately.
Super unfortunate. It looked rather quickly, but the car came to a stop before finishing the left-hander there. That will not be an improvement.
And we've got SKIDPAD time from the E-Force, and it was very good time, 4.8. It's fourth place at this point, so the second run went very well for the E-Force.
Yeah, crazy. Another team with almost an identical time as three others actually. SKIDPAD is also shaping up to be a super, super close competition here.
Here we have second run of E15 from the car from Poland. Here we see a bit of oversteer. The driver is pushing.
Let's hope it stays on this time. They go over the finish line. No cones. But unfortunately, no improvement for them. 5.76 seconds.
Oh, this is the time.
5.18. I'm sorry, that is an improvement for them. Definitely puts them into contention here as well.
And combustion car on the acceleration.
Yeah, we're staying with teams from Poland. Theo Warsaw there. WT Racing. Maximilian Wozniak. Let's see if they can get into the top 10 here for the combustion class. And they do, just barely, with their first attempt. 5:03, 10th place, 3 runs to go. And now the winner from the driverless acceleration is shaping up to get into contention in the electric category as well.
Well, those guys spend a lot of time adjusting their winglets on the rear wing, probably to reduce the drag of the car. Spend some time to do this optimization, and maybe we'll see them on the SKIDPAD as well, where they probably have to actually redo those adjustments.
So E27 car is going for another run. We saw them standing in front of the track. Not sure what exactly happened there, but here we go for the second run. And in the meantime, Aachen is at the start of the acceleration, but let's see now the E27 car, which looks pretty nice. There is a bit of fighting, changing the direction behind the wheel. And here we go.
You can see some slide oversteer there in the left-hander. Still brought it home cleanly. .15 in their first run. Super consistent also, left and right-hand side. Doesn't seem like they're going for a second run right away, so there might have been something in the first run as suspected, but we didn't see it on screen. Still a solid showing and a good position for the second driver to go for this third and fourth run.
On the acceleration, the Warsaw C66 is going for another acceleration around the second one. It was pretty good start for the combustion car, and also only one shift, so let's see if they improve their time.
Yeah, 5:03 their time to beat.
That's
and they do.
They do.
4.676. P9 for them improvement, and 2 more runs to go.
In the meantime, E86 car on the SKIDPAD fighting with the left-hander. And here we go, Aachen just started their acceleration run.
Yeah, it went so fast the camera couldn't even follow it properly. Hofspannung posting a 5.66, improving in the SKIDPAD.
That's a 3.56 for Aachen in the acceleration.
3.56.
Wow.
And keep in mind, that is their first run, already on P3 here.
Now we also have an acceleration electric 3 times the same time on the 100th. It continues, it just continues over the last days. Super, super close, all the competitions from DV up until now.
And by the way, I think those same times are ordered here by car number, so this doesn't actually represent the real order that we're seeing.
Yeah, Aachen. Let's see if they're going for their second run immediately. This is already quite close to what they've posted at FS Austria before. 3.50, their best time there. But before they go ahead, we will see Zwickau again. WHT Racing. We've seen them yesterday already. They're still in 8th position here, already showcasing very strong time of 3.62. Getting off the line. Unfortunately, a little bit slower, 3.69 seconds. Can't improve in their third run. But still, yeah, 1 run left.
The Aachen guys are very quick to push their car to their second attempt. So this is what we're going to see next.
Yeah, I think everyone can understand. They just want to have the tires as warm as possible from the first run, since it's only 500s missing. While we see Chalmers in the skid pad. Good run. See, we hear definitely some applause from the team.
Aachen, they're losing no time at all at the start line. Got off the line rapidly again. Again, P3 in their first run. Let's see what their second one was.
Oh, it's an improvement, but it's a very, very small one, which is enough to at least push them into P3. 3.54 seconds.
Zurich now lining up for their third and fourth run, currently in P5. 3.56 seconds as well. Trying to get ahead of Aachen again in this run.
It's just crazy how close this field is. We have almost 10 teams within 12 hundredths of a second.
And basically again, identical time, but not really. 100th improvement, 3.55 seconds. Puts them onto P4.
Yeah, getting ahead there of your Neum Graz Racing.
It's crazy. It's 100th back and forth with the teams, moving their places around. Crazy.
And I mean, it's so repeatable. Every run just seems to be the same, and just within a few hundredths of a second of a difference. So
And the great thing also is that all the teams in the top 10, they still got at least one run left. So, yeah, maybe we will see the first 3.4 sometime soon. But now, the former leader of the skid pad for the combustion category on track. They had to give up their first position to Tampere in the meantime this morning, but Sebastian Novosad is trying to get it back.
And we see actually his heartbeat in the stream. 125 beats per minute.
Yeah, he stays pretty cool there.
That's a very, very cool feature.
Jonas, do you know about how they implemented that feature? I mean, getting the heartbeat, that seems quite of a big challenge. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, I think he's wearing an Apple Watch from the organizers that we can showcase here. Second run now for him. Still on 125 beats per minute. The run looked... Oh, I got confused there with the sound of the tire screeching. Yeah, no improvement for PGR in their first skid pad run. We haven't got the time from their second run yet. Meanwhile, Zwickau posted another acceleration run on the other side of the event side.
And now Zurich. The smallest changes now can make a difference.
No improvement for Zwickau. Next team in line, Zurich, finishing their run. looked super fast again. But yeah, at this rate, there's just so little things deciding who's going to end up on top. It's really hard to tell from the outside without the timekeeping who's actually faster. And
no, yeah, we see no improvement in the second run from Zurich, 3.57, which still would put them on P6, but yeah, they will stay in P4.
Ghent now, I think on their first run of the dynamic disciplines, 6.44. It seemed like he got very, very slow off the line, then picked up some pace towards the end of the SKIDPAD. I'm sure you want to improve on that one. But the car's also stopping on the way back, just like we've seen with multiple other cars. They're back running. Let's hope they can make it back.
Yeah, they got the car going again, driving back, so we can continue with acceleration shortly.
In the meantime, we are still waiting for the second time from the second Gdansk driver. They're already in the post-scrutiny ring. So it seems like he has finished his run successfully. Let's wait for the live timing here. But before we see that, Tio Ostrava trying to go for their third SKIDPAD runs, I think. We saw them yesterday evening already. Stalling at the start, but the driver quickly turns on the engine again and is back on track.
Yeah, it looks like he didn't really took the right turn. Now the driver is back on track. This one will unfortunately be a DNF, but they still can attend the next one.
Yeah. Also, we can calm down the guys from Tampere. Gdansk did not improve on their very last SKIDPAD run. 5.42 there. Not an improvement for them, unfortunately.
So let's see if the local team can improve on the second one. It will also be their last run in SKIDPAD today and at this competition.
Yeah, their best time so far, 5.67 seconds. And he goes into the left-hand side for a third time, Christian.
Yeah, unfortunately, this happens sometimes. I personally also have some experience with it, to be honest. But yeah, it can happen.
Yeah, I think it's just when drivers are so much in the zone, you know, they're just looking onto the inside cone and trying to be as close as possible there and to just stop counting.
Yeah, the slightest change in rhythm can actually make a huge difference. And for example, with us it was, we had for the first time actually driving a 4.7, and then you have like a tenth of a second to decide whether you go out or not, and then the second you make the wrong decision, you already know, yeah, this is bad. So yeah, very unfortunate.
you could really see this driver also slowing down afterwards. So we knew that he was already in the third lap.
Right, Christian. And now I just heard that we got some more voices on the microphone. Let's head over to you, Michael.
So hello, I'm here with the team member of car E04. Can you introduce yourself and what you do in the team?
Hello, my name is Thomas Chen from NTH Racing from Taiwan, and I do aerodynamics in my team. Yeah.
Okay, and
As a driver.
you are also driver.
Yeah, I just finished my SKIDPAD run.
Okay, and how was it? What was it like?
The car was a little bit under expected, but we'll fix all the problems and get back stronger in the afternoon.
Okay, and as a driver, do you like more oversteer, understeer?
Oversteer.
Oversteer, okay, so you have fast hands.
Yeah, and fast food.
And fast food, of course. And what do you expect of this run? Your car is ready here for the acceleration?
Yeah, the TV guys just tuned some parameters after the SKIDPAD round, and I believe they did a really great job. So I believe our car will perform well.
Okay, I wish you good luck and hope the car will do well in this competition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. In the meantime, we saw the current second place in SKIDPAD on track, E25 Joanneum Graz Racing. Didn't see their first run, unfortunately, but what we've seen in their second run, they took a cone early on, and the driver seemingly gave up on their run here, so just went for the right-hand turn because there was no improvement inside for him. He started off super well, actually. Right hand was a 4.53. Definitely showcasing again what is possible here, but no improvement. Joanneum Graz Racing, they will stay in P2. Tallinn now going for their acceleration run. The team in P1 right now on the world ranking list. But we can really feel the wind picking up here. And it also seems like this is a little bit of a headwind from the acceleration, potentially slowing down the cars.
Yeah, and it makes a huge difference. I mean, if you have a headwind, and it feels like it's a lot actually, then it can make a huge difference with the drag at the end of the straight while the car is driving on top speed.
Yeah, Tallinn there, no improvement, 3.76 seconds. 3.61 in the first end. And this is already what we were just talking about. This could already be caused by this headwind. And it's not just a thing in acceleration, it also can hurt the drivers in the SKIDPAD.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically speaking, the same formula is also for downforce, that is for drag. And also it reduces your downforce if the wind comes from the wrong direction, obviously.
Let's see if it influences the driver for Milano E90. Going for the second run immediately afterwards. It looked like he was working the steering wheel a little bit. First time, 5.23. Next in line for the acceleration, TU Delft. Current leader of EV SKIDPAD.
You've seen a demonstration of their DRS system on the starting line. So instead of manual adjusting those wings, they do this with a servo motor, and it's open. Looked very quick.
Yeah, the team is applauding quite heavily.
It's a 3.55, which sets them on a tied 4th place.
I think this was the time already set yesterday.
Oh.
Not yesterday, but before.
NTHU Racing going for their first acceleration run. We just heard them on the microphone, but also on the skid pad. We got the team from Hamburg, E78 TU Hamburg, Ignition. Saw them pushing into driverless disciplines a couple times yesterday without actually running in the end, unfortunately. Finishing a skid pad run here. Improving to a 5.25 with 1 run to go. Tallinn, meanwhile, trying to get an improvement in their very last run. But unfortunately, it's not. Unfortunately, it is not an improvement for them. Again, the wind has picked up, so they couldn't match their time from yesterday. Back to Hamburg.
Yeah, if the wind's staying this strong or even increasing, it looks very, very good for our Tyrol Motorsport.
We've seen Ignition Hamburg on the skid pad in their 3rd attempt. I think their track width looks a little bit wider than the standard car here. Could that improve the stability on the track? Christian, maybe you could answer this question.
So the 3rd run from Delft, 3.55, identical, puts them onto P4 currently. And now I think they have to switch their driver for the last and 4th run.
Yeah, Weingarten, no improvement for them on their 2nd run. They posted a really, really strong 3.52 earlier. 5.6, yeah. Meanwhile, E84, Proton Dynamic, finished their first skid pad run, now going for the 2nd one. 5.49. Right-hander being significantly slower than the left-hander in their first run. Quite a nice livery on that car, actually. Got a couple birds on the sides. I heard that that's because of their main sponsor, and improving to 5.42. Now back to the acceleration. E-Force Prague setting in next lap time. And they posted a 3.77. Yeah, also not improving there compared to their previous runs. So we're back to the skid pad. TU Yildiz, currently in P5, but only 0.02 of a second off the podium here.
Ooh, huge drift in the end. Did he hit a cone? Did you see that?
I don't think he did, and just looked the same as his colleague earlier. He was also drifting a lot, but not hitting any cones, making it through. We haven't got the timing of them yet, though.
Time's running late now within our competitions, and the post-scrutineers, the pre-scrutineers started to move back in the queue to make every car prepared for their runs and make sure that every car that is here can actually drive up until 12 o'clock.
Yeah, Stefan, we saw the time now of 5.31 seconds, improving 100th of a second. Unfortunately, not getting that one more hundredth they needed to get into the top 3 here.
We've seen another big oversteering moment for a C34 car on the skid pad, and also we are now seeing the start of the acceleration, and here we go, the car E23.
Yeah, Running Snails posting a 3.66 here, also not improving.
And here we go for another SKIDPAD competitor, C96 from Bucharest.
Yeah, Michael, and it actually does seem like YT Racing got that much needed improvement to get into the top 3 here. 5.29 seconds, pushing Serbo Motorsports out of the top 3.
It's a very nice time. They actually have been in the ED finals, so this team is definitely one of those to keep an eye on in the combustion category here in FSCZ. Now there is a lot of action going on here in the road. There are just the best cars in the world, Formula student cars, of course, and it's just nice to see. You can just watch any car and it's so beautiful, and the times also are pretty close. It's unbelievable.
Last attempt from Bucharest here. Very, very minor steering input. The car looks super steady. I don't know if the pace is going to be enough to improve on the time that's still standing.
The driver seems a bit careful with the car, and he just finished the run. And there we go with the C82 car on the acceleration. We can hear the engine is revving. The pilot is finding the right RPM to launch the car. And now he's drop the clutch and let's go for the run. The car is very nice aerodynamically, one of the best ones in the combustion category, I would say. And here we go, SKIDPAD E07 car is doing the second turn.
Yeah, this is actually quite interesting what they're gonna do now.
And the oversteer was pretty severe there.
Team is cheering. This is one of the teams that had a different strategy yesterday. They said one run, and now they have to basically do all the others.
In the meantime, Elbflow Race posting a very solid time. Oh, sorry.
So, 4.78 seconds, and
yeah, a little bit of a slide there at the very end. Not sure if that left-hander is faster. The right-hander looked super quick.
Puts them
both
on
of them
P3.
actually. 4.7 and a 4.7 overall, putting them on P3 here.
Have you seen how consistent this is? We have seen this yesterday from Fast here, putting up this exact time left and right, and they also did it.
Yeah, unreal. This definitely speaks for a driver that has had a lot of practice in the SKIDPAD and also a very, very balanced car, well set up suspension, and just a lot of confidence.
With the car E59, Theo Dresden on the acceleration, I think is their first attempt. Looked quick. We have a look at the time.
Stefan, it's actually their second attempt here. They posted one before, a 3.56 earlier, and now a 3.61. Definitely showing that there is still 3.5 times to get here, even with the headwind. But definitely a little bit of a gamble when the gusts pick up and where they're calm for a little bit. Fourth time now on SKIDPAD again, E79. .5 seconds here, an improvement in the first run of the second driver, Elena. Yeah, we really see a lot of cars piling up in the post-inspection. And that's also the thing, right, Christian? I mean, we only got 15 minutes left, and posting all the runs now is going to take some time. There's just a lot of teams taking up time, taking up space in the post-inspection as well, and you really have to account for that and also be lucky as well to get through it quickly.
Yes. Yesterday we had an extension of 30 minutes for the dynamic events, but I think this extension will be unlikely today because there are still some preparations to do for the autocross today in the afternoon. So everyone who wants to get some times in, I think time's running.
Yeah, I totally agree. The organizers need to prepare the track. They also need the areas. And obviously need to have lunch because it's a busy day and a very long day. So I wouldn't count for an extension this time.
Yeah, Pforzheim improving by 0.03 of a second in the meantime. And also Uni Maribor, who went for the third run. No improvement for them, and they stalled again at the very end of the acceleration. We've seen this a couple times from them before already. So the acceleration is blocked for a little bit. Another thing you can't really count for when you select what time you want to go to. So yeah, back to the SKIDPAD. FS Ulu, northernmost team, we mentioned yesterday already.
This team is pretty small. It has only around 16 full-time members, and it was very nice talking to them yesterday with the EV. The driver is an aerodynamics guy, so let's see how he do on his second run.
Oh, wow, 16 team members only. Even more impressive, they carry that big-ass sauna the entire time to every competition.
Yeah, it's nice of them. It's here every time in the camp, the sauna, and all the drivers just loving going there during the cold evenings. We see the car is pretty stable. No big fighting with the car. So let's see the time. And the time is 5.54 of the second run. No improvement.
Yeah, that was the run that he did before. Now he's on a 5.33. Unfortunately, he couldn't improve, even though he just needs that 1/10 to get into top 3. Unfortunately, that means that there's not going to be a podium for Formula SAE Ulu here today, after they have won the SKIDPAD at FS Balkans last week.
Yeah, but I still think they got good points. also for the rest of the competition. So, and this is the most important thing. As you mentioned yesterday, Jonas, you normally can't win the competition in these disciplines, but you can lose them. While Zwickau is on the SKIDPAD run.
We expect quite a good time here and through the finish for the WHZ team from Zwickau. So the time was 4.81. That's a 7th place for the team so far, but let's see if they will improve in their second run.
Yeah, they said they wanted to go below 4.7 in SKIDPAD here. Didn't quite manage that last year. Finished 30 in SKIDPAD, just behind Joanneum Graz and the team from Nuremberg, if I remember correctly. Fortunately, we haven't seen Nuremberg here in the event side yet. But yeah, back to the acceleration. E99, HSK Karlsruhe. Improving on their first attempt to 18th position, 3.95 seconds.
And here we have the finished Zwickau car with the SKIDPAD. Let's see what the time will be. In the meantime, the Joanneum is starting the acceleration, so there is quite a lot of action going on at this point. And let's see the start of this beast. You see the DRS open, and here we go.
Yeah, the time for Zwickau in the SKIDPAD was 4.8 and a 4.72 left and right. So it will average in the middle, actually.
Yeah, Joanneum, no improvement for them. Again, the wind really, really picked up here. Meanwhile, Chalmers going for their last acceleration runs. And another team that we just see coming into the dynamic area all the way from the UK, Oxford Brooks Racing. We haven't seen them at all here so far. They've been in the technical inspection for quite some time, but super happy to see them here.
Yeah, let's see if they can actually compete in both disciplines. Will be very, very close.
Here we can see car E39. We can see on the end plates of the rear wing the sharp edges that would make the airflow stick to the end plate, especially here in the SKIDPAD when the car is turning around. And here we go for the second run.
Yeah, it seems like they posted a 5.15. Left and right, actually, and overall, of course, as well. Team sounded happy. One more run to go. Clean right-hander.
Let's see if they can improve. And car E44 just started on acceleration.
And we see a car, actually, who was it? 44?
Yeah, Deggendorf.
They spun after the acceleration run. And also hitting some cones, but the car is still driving.
Yeah, good to see. I don't know if they took any cones back there. I couldn't really see that.
Yeah, it looked like it. It definitely looked like it. They hit cones.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for them because they also improved to a 3.93 there.
But it should be that they still have a run.
Yeah.
And there is some problems with the acceleration. But the car is still going. Car E99.
Yeah, HSK really not getting off the line well there. Shouldn't forget to mention that Lund improved again to a 5.04 overall, as far as I could have seen. Also being super consistent then, again, left and right. But now back to the acceleration. Ionium Graz Racing on the starting line.
The lightest car, possibly, we have here in the competition. Let's see how they do in the last run. Yes. Pretty nice launch. And it's slower, it's 3.82 for the last run. The wind really picked up here a bit. Do you think it's the reason why it's so hard to beat those times now?
Oh yeah, 100%. I believe that plays a huge influence, especially in the acceleration, but also in SKIDPAD here. Ionium Graz Racing quite a bit slower than their best time. On P6 now, can't get into the top 5 here. But we've also seen Delft and Alpha Race posting really, really good times very late into the event. So when the wind was already quite up. And we see another, well, almost spin. The driver had it under control though. E15 Theo Wrocław.
I don't know actually what happened there, but we've heard a big tire squirt all over the track. So I think the driver just slammed on the brakes.
He was super heavy on the brakes there. The car almost oversteered while braking. Maybe some brake balance issues there to note for later for the autocross. Not too relevant here though, since he didn't miss any cones, just a little bit of a scare for the team there.
Maybe it might be tactics for the tires to heat up, because if you brake hard, you will put some temperature into it.
Yeah, while E44 Deggendorf is going, Michael, I really doubt that is the tactic there, since the tires tend to just get, flat spots on and lots of vibration into them when you get them to screech in the braking zones. So yeah, I doubt that was the plan for them there. P5 currently in SKIDPAD Zurich, but stopping on the left turn, or at least slowing down. That is definitely not going to be an improvement here.
Definitely not. Let's see if they will go for another run, because who knows what happened there. Maybe it was a driver mistake, or let's see if they go for another try, and we can see they goes. So let's see if the issue will be still there.
Yeah, 4 minutes left in the session. Usually the organizers let all the teams queuing go for their run. Let's see if they do it here, because we also have the track walk for the autocross soon. AMZ now slowing down again.
Oh my God!
On their left-hander.
The issue, unfortunately, wasn't resolved. That means AMZ is in the 4th place for now, and no better time, unfortunately.
But I'm still curious to see what the right turn was from a time perspective, so we can see where they would have ended up. It's around a 4.86, so it wouldn't be an improvement.
Yeah, Christian, they really would have needed to pull off a really, really strong left-hander there to get an improvement overall.
And we got time from E15 car, 4.48, and also we got Brooks on the start, car number E92, finishing their first acceleration run. if I'm not mistaken. I'm seeing this car here for the first time.
Yeah, we just mentioned that they are here first on their first dynamic run. They took quite some time in the technical inspection and finishing off strong in their first run, 4.17 in the acceleration. They actually won it at FSUK 2025 with 4.2 there, so already improving compared to that. Let's see if they can improve in their second run or whether they push immediately to the SKIDPAD to get a time in there, as long as there might be still some hope.
Here we have E42 car on the acceleration start. Here there were also problems with the scrutineering yesterday. That's why they were not in the DV category, unfortunately. And here we go for the start. Rear wheel spins and away we go. It seems like the car is not at full speed at all, unfortunately. Yeah, and that's the last run of E4's 4 seconds 86. E24 car on the SKIDPAD, Tallinn, very fast car. Let's see their time.
With a 4.81, improving that time. And now in P7, like the 4.81 we've seen quite often today.
That's right, we can see where they're going to improve. Maybe they show this consistency just a little bit quicker on the next attempt.
And here we have another run on the SKIDPAD. It's Italian Dynamics. They go for another. Oh, there were definitely some cones crashing, let's say.
Yeah, and the cone is right in the middle of the exit, so we'll see what the driver's actually doing. And he's hitting another cone with the cone. This means then 2.
Yeah, the car from Dynamics there, a little bit understeery and oversteer at the same time.
Driver had to fight with the car, but it looked very quick, so we'll see about their last attempt.
Meanwhile, the leaders of the acceleration event went for another run. But let's stay on Milan for now.
The Milano car seems much smoother now. Let's hope they will finish the run. A bit of oversteer there, and here we go to the finish. Let's go.
Yeah, the team's clapping, they're happy. Finished the run, not hitting any cones.
Let's see if there will be an improvement. Oh, it's 4.8 for the Italian Dynamics. This was their last and also best run and 6th position.
Exactly. Yeah, improving ahead of all the other teams that got that 4.81. P6 for them. I'm sure they're very happy with getting off this run in the last attempt.
I see the E4s as actually the same time. Do you know who is 6th when the time is the same? Because I've never seen that.
Yeah, we discussed this earlier already. We only see the times rounded to the second decimal. And I'm pretty sure that our timekeeping has it more accurate.
Okay, here we can see a second electric car from Czech Republic with bit of oversteer to the finish line. It's TU Brno, the second biggest city here in Czech Republic. They have 4-wheel drive car for the first time. Since then, there were only rear-wheel drive cars, and it's 5.3 for their first SKIDPAD run. That's 25th place.
Yeah, super late here that they post a SKIDPAD time.
Yeah, talking about late, in the meantime, the pre-inspection got already closed. I think all the teams in the queue are still allowed to put in a run. So we will see. I think for acceleration, it's 5 cars.
Here we have second run for the TU Brno Racing. Let's see if they can improve on their second run. We have to say they are a bit late to the party because we are coming to the end and they just finished their second SKIDPAD run. Let's see the time.
Yeah, and it is an improvement. 5.1 seconds on supposedly their last attempt here in the morning session. An improvement by 2/10. Lots of points they got there. Very impressive.
And here we have another SKIDPAD run. It's a combustion car from Budapest, one of the very good cars.
Yeah, so far 5.53 seconds their best attempt. I'm sure they're not super happy with that yet.
Unfortunately, the cone has been hit by the car at almost at the finish line because the drivers, if I can see it right, they are very pushing to the finish line, almost ending with the oversteer. So it's very dangerous area where the driver has to tell himself how much risk he want to take for the small tenth of a second there. So 5.43 is the time, and it's 8th place.
Meanwhile, in Innsbruck, car number E7 got in 2 acceleration runs, both with the same time, 3.68, which unfortunately is not an improvement, but we've also already heard those guys celebrating with their cowbells because they still held the quickest acceleration time of the event. Congratulations.
Yeah, and I think all the other cars here in the acceleration are now being told that the session is over. No Trondheim, no Delft, and also Proton Racing not going. So it seems like Budapest is the last team that we will see on track before the lunch break.
Yeah, we can see all the cars going off the track here in front of us. And let's wait for the TU Budapest time. The run was pretty clear. But unfortunately it's a tenth slower, so they will be finishing probably at the 8th spot.
Yeah, no improvement for BME Motorsports there. One more team going.
Okay, so far the acceleration area is closing, but the SKIDPAD, as we can see, will still have some runs, and that's E04 car on the start.
Anti-HU Racing, we've seen them before on the SKIDPAD. Trying to improve their time. Again, all the way from Taiwan. We could have seen the driver warming up the tires a little bit on the way to the start line, but it seems like the car is slowing down massively. There some issues on the first right-hander, and he couldn't fix them before going into the second right-hander. Same accident on their second lap, so this run will not be an improvement, I think.
Very unfortunate. Let's see if they go for another run.
Yeah, as expected, no improvement there for NTHU Racing, but they got one run left.
Let's see if the issues will be fixed. Guys, what do you think what the pilot can do to fix those issues? Maybe he restarts the car, but I think there is no time for it, right?
Yes, we're running out of time here, so the dynamic events are closing for the break. I think they can not make any adjustments right now, so restart the car, that's all he can do, and just try again.
Yeah, this is one of the risks, obviously, you have when you enter it very late. You have the best track conditions, but you also have the risk if something goes wrong, you can't adjust anything.
I think they've been in scrutineering up until tomorrow morning, so like they had no choice. Anyway, I think they can be happy that they got some runs in, and I think this time's looked somewhat solid.
Yeah, I mean, for them it's a good thing that they actually could run. But yeah, in general, I think we've seen a lot of teams also gambling.
Exactly. I mean, with those cars, those are all self-manufactured, self-built. The goal will always be to actually get the car running, finish the dynamic events. That's the #1 priority, and I think they can be proud that they achieved this.
Yeah, and especially with it being this close, you need to take some risk to be on top.
Yeah. Yeah, now we can see another car, E51 Unigent, going for their first SKIDPAD run. I think they got super lucky that they were in the queue just on time to get this run posted. Unigent, 6.46 seconds. They're getting pulled out immediately.
Yeah, and one thing you can definitely see here is that you have a front-to-rear interconnected anti-robot system on the car. Yeah, very interesting design approach. I think we need to speak with them about it.
Yeah, 100%. They've been running it for quite some time, you know, connecting the front and the rear axle here. And I'm super intrigued, actually, what the data shows for them. Yeah, if it works or not to get that extra weight in. And yeah, I think the last car on track now, Warsaw TU. WT Racing.
The team that we've also seen in the ED finals. Let's see how they do their SKIDPAD run. It seems a bit conservative to me so far. The driver is not pushing. What do you think, guys?
Oh, I think he is pushing. The drone shot always shows a little different perspective here. And yeah, as a whole, he's just trying to find the limits, you know, his first run. He hasn't been on the track before. 6.23 there, no improvement, but he's still got one run left.
So far, it's 11th position on the SKIDPAD for the team from Warsaw.
While the last car is running, there are a few cars that are still in post-scrutineering, and our track marshals already removed the acceleration track. Work to build the autocross track will start really soon, so shout outs to the track marshal. Everyone's doing a great job here of already getting the work in.
Yeah, and the team C66 hitting again the same two cones they did the first run. So also this will not be an improvement for them in total.
Yep, and that's how we conclude the morning session, guys. Wow. Saw a couple really strong times posted. for combustion SKIDPAD Tampere, taking over the lead from Gdansk, who went yesterday. In electric, we saw Delft also posting the best time yesterday. No improvement there, so maybe Christian, after all, we might have been right there that the conditions yesterday were slightly better. I mean, we know the wind picked up a lot. We also have a lot of clouds here now. Sun is not there anymore. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we were speculating about it yesterday, and it kind of proved right. We didn't really speculate about the wind, but this obviously didn't help also. And yeah, in general, yesterday evening, everything was very, very heated up, but still we saw a very, very close competition. And also like two, let's say, unfortunate events, like one crash in SKIDPAD and one in the end of the acceleration run. The drivers, obviously, nothing happened, severe happened, but I think they have some work to do.
Yeah, you're 100% right there. So again, congrats to the winners, EV SKIDPAD, TU Delft, EV Acceleration, CTM Motorsport, Campus Tirol Motorsport from Innsbruck, Combustion Acceleration, TU Yildiz from Istanbul, Combustion SKIDPAD, Tampere UAS from Finland. And I guess what we can also say still that there's still no clear favorite in any of the categories so far.
Yeah, totally agree, totally agree. I think what actually counts a lot here are the statics. You know, we will see today in the autocross, but everything being so close in SKIDPAD and acceleration, and autocross being literally a combination of both of these disciplines, we don't expect to see a lot of super time difference here. So yeah, statics will be important, absolutely. And yeah, obviously finishing the endurance on Saturday.
Yeah, I think especially the CTM win here, I consider that an underdog performance, so really, really good performance. So I think the tables are on the cards are on the table. Everyone could take the win in autocross today in the afternoon. We'll see who does that. Maybe there's some setups. I'm really, really looking forward to this one.
So am I. Thank you guys, and I will see you later. The afternoon session, autocross starting at 2 p.m.
See you guys.